In the northern region of Goshen, there lived a man named Amram. Now, Amram was from the tribe of Levi, and he had a wife named Jochebed. They were a righteous couple who served God. And even though they were very old, they still desired to have a son. But the problem was that their wish seemed impossible. Year after year, Jochebed's womb remained empty. So, they decided to do something desperate. They cried out to God and asked him to give them a baby. However, when God heard their prayer, he didn't answer the way they expected. Instead of giving them a baby, God miraculously transformed Jochebed into a pregnant woman. He made it seem as if she had been pregnant all along. And just a few days later, she gave birth to a baby boy. How awesome is our God! No one could explain what had happened except God. And he was very pleased with how things turned out. That's because this baby wasn't just any ordinary child. His name was Moses, and he was destined to be the one to lead God's people out of slavery in Egypt. But everything seemed normal for the first few months of Moses' life. That was until Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, issued a decree ordering that every male Hebrew baby born that month should be thrown into the Nile River and killed. Why, you ask? Well, Pharaoh was afraid that the Hebrews would team up with the Egyptians and overthrow his rule. So he came up with this evil plan to get rid of all the Hebrew baby boys. Now, hearing this decree, Amram and Jochebed were deeply troubled, especially since their baby Moses was exactly the age Pharaoh was talking about. They knew they had to do something quickly. So, here's what they did. They got a small boat, waterproofed it, put Moses inside with his baby sister Miriam watching over him, then left him on the bank of the river. Then they went away and cried as they hoped for the best for their little boy. And thankfully, their hope did not disappoint, as God had orchestrated things perfectly. Just as they left the boat with Moses in it, Pharaoh's daughter came to the river for a little swim. You see, even though Pharaoh was wicked, his daughter was kind and compassionate. As she was taking a bath, she saw the basket with Moses in it, and her heart melted at the sight of the crying baby. She couldn't bear to leave him there, so she took him out of the basket, held him in her arms and started to feed him. Meanwhile, Miriam watched from afar and couldn't help but feel sad seeing her own brother being adopted by their oppressors. So she went up to the princess and asked if she could find a nurse who could take care of Moses and teach him everything about the Hebrew culture and religion. The princess agreed, and who do you think she chose for the job? None other than Moses' own mother, Jochebed. When Jochebed saw her son again, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and love for God. She knew that he had saved Moses and given him a chance at life. At the same time, she was also filled with pride as she realized that her son would grow up knowing his heritage. So Jochebed took care of Moses as if it was the most important task in the world. She nursed him, sang to him and made sure he grew up happy and healthy. Meanwhile, Pharaoh's daughter raised Moses as her own son, giving him all the privileges and luxuries of the royal court. In fact, she loved him so much that she even named him Ramesses, which means beloved son. As Moses grew older, he excelled in all areas of his life. He was strong, intelligent and courageous, just like his father. And although he was raised in a palace, Moses never forgot where he came from. You see, whenever Jochebed visited him, she reminded him of his true identity as a Hebrew and taught him about God, their history and traditions. Even though Moses didn't live with his mother, he always felt connected to his heritage. And when he grew up, he did something incredible. One day, while Moses was out with his friends, they got into a fight with some Egyptian soldiers. The soldiers taunted Moses and his friends, calling them dirty slaves. So Moses stood up for himself and his people. To everyone's surprise, he killed one of the soldiers in a fit of anger. When this happened, Moses ran away and hid, fearing that the Egyptians would come after him. He wandered in the desert for 40 days when suddenly he saw a bush that was on fire, yet it wasn't burning up. So, he walked over to it and heard God speak to him. God told Moses that he had a special task for him, to go back to Egypt and free the Israelites from slavery. But Moses tried to make excuses and said, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and free your people, Israel?" But God reassured him, saying, "I will be with you. And when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on the mountains." So even though Moses was scared, he knew he couldn't run away from God forever. So he went back to Egypt and started planning his next move. First, he visited his mother and told her about what God had planned for him. Then he went to see Aaron, his brother, and asked for his help. Aaron agreed, and together they went before Pharaoh and told him that God wanted him to let the Israelites go. Pharaoh refused, though, thinking that Moses and Aaron were trying to trick him. He ordered them to get out of his sight, warning them not to show him another miracle. But Moses and Aaron were determined to do God's work. So they continued to confront Pharaoh, each time asking him to let the Israelites go. And God performed a series of miracles to convince Pharaoh, like turning Moses' staff into a snake, making Aaron's staff sprout flowers, sending swarms of frogs everywhere, and even turning the water into blood. Yet despite all these signs and wonders, Pharaoh's heart remained hard, and he wouldn't let the Israelites go. Finally, God told Moses to confront Pharaoh one last time. This time, God promised that he would bring the worst plague on Egypt, the death of the firstborn sons. However, God also told Moses that he would spare the homes of the Israelites if they placed lamb's blood above their door frames. So Moses went to Pharaoh and warned him about the coming plague. Pharaoh finally gave in and let the Israelites go. However, he changed his mind halfway and decided to chase after them. During the escape, the Egyptians chased the Israelites all the way to the Red Sea. And when Pharaoh's soldiers were close behind them, Moses raised his staff and God parted the waters, allowing the Israelites to cross through on dry land. But when Pharaoh's army followed them, God caused the waters to crash down, killing every soldier. Then the Israelites sang a song of praise to God for delivering them from their enemies. From that moment on, the Israelites followed Moses and God's laws and worshipped him as their one true God. And Moses became a great leader, guiding his people through the wilderness towards the promised land. Hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing Bible stories. Thanks for watching and see you next time.